hang out with you today. Are you tired of not being able to get clients to repurchase and hang around with you? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's get started. Yay, I am so excited to hang out with my new friend Troy today. And we're going to be talking about the customer experience and what we can do. And if you are out there watching us live, make sure that you put comments in and they'll show up and you can be part of our conversation today. We would love to hear your thoughts and your inputs and questions. Now, Troy, I would love to know a little bit about you. So let's start off with telling us why you are so passionate about helping people with their customer service using your zone of genius.
Yeah, I'm known as a kind of a LinkedIn expert. So I have a tagline. You probably see it right in there. It says the not so boring LinkedIn guy. So I always think you want to add some personality in there and differentiate yourself. But to be completely honest, when you help the right people, you gain business. So helping people, let me rephrase it. Gaining business is a byproduct of helping others. That's really what it is. So if you come in there to actually solve a pain or lessen their pain, you have a much better chance of converting that into business in the future. Because people like to work with people they have a connection with, the know, like, and trust factor. And so there's a lot of things that you can do in order to be that person there for them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just want to sell stuff. And so since I'm on LinkedIn a lot, LinkedIn is not about selling. It's really about building a relationship and networking. And so I think there's a huge knowledge gap in there. And if they could solve that, their life would be a lot better.
I love that. And and I think the reason that I'm passionate about it is because I'm lazy. I don't like selling. I don't like marketing. So if I can give my clients an amazing experience, then they're going to do that marketing for me. They're going to tell their friends about me. Now
Oh
I
my
know
goodness, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
that's
right
not it.
because I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, when someone else toots your horn, it's like 10 times more valuable, more powerful than you saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm so cool and I can do all this stuff." If you help people, they're going to actually look at this other person they trust. They say, "You trust this person, I'll trust this person because I have this issue that needs to be solved." So you're absolutely right. You want to provide value. And so I I think the main problem is people don't know what value is.
Hmm.
And, and so value is not valuable to you. That's a big mistake. The spammers, all the spammers there that you say, hey, I do this stuff, you want this job or you want this product or can you give me business or whatever. That's not value. That's spam. Okay. They just don't know it. I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's spam. Adding value is understanding who you're talking to and having that conversation, allowing them to kind of express who they are. And by doing that, you can fill in the gaps. You can connect the dots. So valuable to them is if they come to me, for example, and they think they have a LinkedIn problem, they may have a LinkedIn problem. Who knows what it is, but they think that, hey, Troy knows a lot about this stuff, and I may find out during the course of conversation. I said, oh, you don't have a LinkedIn problem. You have an email issue, or you may have a deliverability issue. I may have a partner for that. So me adding value is just solving their pain. So I have partners that are ancillary to what I do. And I think I have like 25,000 connections or something in. So there's a good chance that I will know someone that can fix your problem. Now, do I make money off that? No, not always, but I can't really handle more than 2 new clients a month. White glove clients a month, major clients. Anything beyond that, I won't be helpful to them, you know. And so if I could immediate issue, then great. Another thing too is sometimes you can solve a few issues and then they know you well enough to and understand the process enough to be vetted as a client. Most people are not optimal clients. So you don't want to pick up the wrong client. So maybe if they understood and had some good habits, they could be set up for success. And now they're ready to be a client. The worst thing you can do is pick up someone, pay your monthly fees, and then all of a sudden they don't show up for the meetings. They can't close the deals, it's like that. That's pretty dangerous. And they may get mad at you, so it's human nature. And so vetting clients is just as important as them vetting you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. It is time to get motivated. So, why is the client journey important for professionals to thrive in life and business? And I think we're kind of like sprinkling that in as we're talking, but go ahead and answer that.
Oh my goodness. There's so many answers, like a Pandora box there. Well, as far as the client journey, you got to, I guess, if I had to figure out an individual client journey and I was having a meeting with someone, we'll use that scenario. I would look at their LinkedIn profile. I would understand who they are and I would understand where they are in the current journey. And so if they've reached out to me and they want to talk to me about something and they tell me a general idea, I want to know where they're at. So they've obviously have some sort of, for me, they have some sort of business. They're at the point where they're understanding that they're trying to increase their bookings or their vetted bookings, but they're having trouble. And also, they may give me some insight of who they dealt with before or what methods they did before. And so, my job is not to sell them. My job is to listen to what they have, their story, their pain, and perhaps give one or two suggestions and keep it slow because I may be the expert and you may be the expert in the areas that you are in, but they're not. So they're really at the third grade level and not saying that they're slow at all. I'm saying that as an expert, you have many more details. So you have to break it down very slow. Okay, this is where you're at. These are the problems you're having. Have you tried this and this? Try these few things to lessen your pain. And if it works well, they'll come back for a second meeting and you'll be able to close a deal. The only reason someone will work with me is if they're not wanting to put any of the work in, because marketing, sales, relationship building, it's work. It's not an automatic process, and so you have to build that. So you have to have the mindset to go through that, to help other people, to engage and that sort of thing. And I actually had a problem with that before. I'll give you a short story, but I had an IT company before. It's called ISO Active. We did Fortune 500 work as well as startups. We did Coca-Cola Enterprises, Xbox mobile apps, Harry Potter virtual world, a lot of cool projects. And I loved it. Going really well until it wasn't. I was in Atlanta at the time, and Atlanta has a lot of Fortune 500 companies, and they stopped using the agencies. So they're a little more corporate. They're not as creative. And so they took these teams and they cannibalized them and brought them in house. That means all the work I got from these agencies, they blocked me. I was pretty much, because they did not want me to know the client because the type of work that we did was kind of a higher level. And so they're afraid. And so what we had to do is figure out, wow, how are we going to get work? And so we went to LinkedIn, and I had a couple buddies of mine doing really well, and I asked them, "Hey, Troy," I said, "Hey, John, how are you guys producing so much business through LinkedIn?" He says it's all relationship building, and I realized something. I was not good at that. I wasn't good at relationship building. I was what we call a terrible dater in real life. So I saw what I want and I just went and got it. And that's really the way to do it. You want to slow date. And so that's the relationship building portion. And I found out the formula for dating businesses online. And that's how I became successful. So a lot of people don't know how to slow date. And that is a major issue in the journey to actually obtain customers.
Absolutely. And to go back to the question a little bit, I think that understanding their journey is, things that are obvious to you and I may not be obvious to everyone. My husband's, I'm always like, I don't need to do that. Everybody knows that. And he's like, no, Peggy, everybody doesn't know that. And I was like, who doesn't know not to put the light behind their head? And he's like, not every, something that to me, it's like, why would you have to say that out loud? But people do need the things that come so natural to us because remember, we were them one time. We just forgot. We had to learn this stuff one
Yeah.
time too. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we've put so many hours working on it, it's natural to us now. We need to identify where they're at so that we can help them, because a lot of these gurus and people out there are like, oh, just do this, but they forgot to give you a foundation. So you're like trying to dive in the deep end and you haven't learned how to float yet, so
Yeah, you
it's
could overload them with information very quickly. There are two
that doesn't
types of
do
people.
anything. So yeah, so
Mhm.
really getting in there and really, thinking about where they're at. I think that's so important.
Yeah, you can usually identify where they're at by that conversation. So if you come from a place of service, they'll be more open to tell
Which
you
goes
the
back to
issue.
that slow dating, right? Instead of
Oh, you have
barreling
to
in
slow
there,
date. What do you
like
do in
talking to them,
old-fashioned dating?
listening.
Oh yeah, you go out and you meet this person with no expectations. Of course, you want to vet the person beforehand. So because you want to avoid tire kickers. That's a whole nother conversation. But I was getting about 50 meetings a week. It's too many. I want 15 to 20. That's it. I got other stuff. I got other stuff going on, and I have to run a business, and I got the SaaS product stuff and all this other stuff going on. And so you kind of reduce the meeting. So you do want to vet the person you want to talk to. So it's someone, and when you talk to them, you just want to listen and you want to learn more about them. And people are a little self-centric, and just know that's human nature. So they hear about them. And the best thing you do is listen and tweak the conversation and genuinely support that person. And if it becomes a client, then great. If not, it's totally fine. They will never have anything bad to say about you, and they recommend you. So there are three things that can really happen when you come from a place of service. You help them. Number one, of course, they could convert into a client. Sure. Number two, maybe that you didn't, and they did what you asked, and it solved the problem. Well, you have a golden ticket to pull. You could say, thanks. You might not be a perfect fit for what I do. It helps you, right? Yeah, you can get a recommendation, and they can also recommend you to another person. So those are three major things that benefit you. Again, gaining business is a byproduct of helping others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's stay inspired. How has customer service been a problem for you? Now, like we're talking real life stuff, we're
Mhm.
tattling on ourselves. When did you mess this up in the past and how did you overcome that?
Oh, you know what? You kind of mentioned it during the conversation. I'm talented in like multiple areas, so I'm not a normal person. So I was a programmer, designer, UIX, UX guy, and LinkedIn. I'm a speaker, I have my own show, so I do a lot of stuff. Right? And I also thought that people would make the meetings, need reminders. Um, you know, a document would be enough to clarify. No, it's not. You have to hold these people's hands. You
And
have to.
that's so funny because I'm the type of person where if we've said we're having a meeting in 3 weeks at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's on my calendar and I'm going to be there. And it
Yeah,
blows my mind. I'm like, what do you mean you needed a reminder? Like, don't you have a calendar? But it's
yeah. You
true.
think everyone
It's
has a
so
calendar? Yeah, They don't. A lot of people don't use. I never understood, like, if you have a doctor appointment, why didn't they put it on your calendar? Because I'm not going to remember, So I'm all calendar driven. But the thing is, you have to be on the same page as them, and they have to be on the same page as you. So there has to be a meeting of the mind. So expectations up front are very important, because they could be thinking one thing, like, even for a service. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get 50 clients a month at $2,000 a month, and I'm gonna compound that every. No, it's not magic like that. Oh yeah, I can close the deal really. Sometimes a lot of people can't close deals. They may need a salesperson. So you have to identify those elements and then express those concepts in a way that it's expected. So you have to manage those expectations. And one way that I do that is I have extremely clear agreements. This is how we communicate the services that we're providing. These are the things that we're not doing. It's important too, because some may think, oh, they're helping me with the bookings. Well, that could be, I'm helping you with the messages and you're doing the bookings, or that could be me doing the bookings. And some people think it's me sitting in the meeting with them and closing the deal with them. And that's another service, And so you have to be super clear on what's expected on their end as well as my end. And you can't dump it all on them at one time. That's why content is so important. When you're posting they get little bite-sized chunks of information, and longer conversations are good for the deal closers, when they actually want to book a meeting with you and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Real quick. Hey, Gary, thanks for the shout out. So before I tell on myself, I will say that every single policy that I have in my business is because of a mess up, right? Every single policy that I have is because I went, oh, I guess we need to write this down for the future, right? Because either, people expected something that I didn't say that I would do, but somehow they expected it. And I'm the type of person that my integrity is most important to me. So if I felt like they really, really believed that, then I'm going to do it, even if it cost me time and money. But the second that happens, it's now written down that that's not good. Like, give
but
me
you
one.
also have a limit too. You have to know that your integrity is going to say, for example, I have a show and sometimes I have guests, right? And one of the guests, they wanted my entire email list. I'm like,
Oh,
I didn't say, are you on crack? but like, no, you're not getting my entire, because it's not agreed upon. If it's agreed upon, but because there's a lot of issues with that. Maybe she thought it was. I didn't think I would have to explain that, and because it never came up before. But I can't give out everyone the email list, because the email list is secure.
yeah.
And so there's an integrity
If you have my email, I have a certain expectation of you not giving it or selling it to anyone. So
Exactly. And so this other person said, no, I'm on the show. I get the whole email list. I'm like, says who? And so now I have to write down is that, if you are going to be a guest, then these are the things expected of you. And one is your own email list that you're going to be on. That's fair. And then if they want to add to your, some of them will trickle in, and that's how it works. But yeah, so you have to break it down almost in a. Are you familiar with the term SOP?
no.
All right, service operating procedure. So SOP is a training manual. So I have a lot of, and I have VAs, assistants, stuff like that. And so when I have done something or create something, or they're helping with the content, whatever the task is, right, that generates business and bookings and all that other stuff, they're not experts at a lot of that stuff. And they don't understand my flavor, and they don't understand all the little details that make that brand. And so you have to help them out. You have to create a document on these are the procedures, and that's an SOP. It's just a training document. So SOPs have helped out tremendously. in the client process, as well as helping train their people.
Yeah, absolutely. So who should we ask for help when we're trying to solve problems with our customer service? Who would you say is the most important person or to ask?
Oh, I would think that the customer facing individual. So whoever is the manager, and they have different terms. Some are project managers, some are the client facing manager, that sort of thing. Those people talk to the actual customer. And so if they're engaging it, they're more with the quirks versus the people who do the actual writing work or the technical work or the systems. They may not fully understand that. So that has to be translated in order to convey the service, because that service is ultimately a big portion of that customer service, because they're expecting a product or service to work in a certain way. And so to alleviate that frustration, you have to work on a lot of things. And some of them are UI, UX, how things kind of look, how things are, how complicated or how simple it is, and at the end you end up getting a better service, and then identifying who your real customers are.
I agree 100%. I think that the person you should talk to about customer service is your customers. What kind of experience are they having? What kind of experience do you want them to have? And why aren't they having the experience you want them to have? Really, I always say that, every few months I go through like all my links. Like if I'm sending you to this, like I go sign up for my own programs like every few months to make sure that I haven't changed a link and there's something's not working or I'm not getting a notification. Really, like, because I don't want anything to stop my clients from reaching me. I don't want to make anything complicated. I want everything to be so
The things that
simple.
you say that test certain areas, most don't do that, unfortunately. And it's horrible. Like you could have a partner and say a development part or a software, whatever it is, and you have a special piece of software they're managing, and they say, "Oh, it's done." Like that. When someone says it's done, it kind of scares me because they don't give me details, right? So it's done. So and then 3 weeks later, it's not done.
It's not done and you are.
And you already and your back is against the wall. And so I always think that like if someone's working on it or or whoever the person's reporting to me, they better test this stuff. Don't just tell them, oh, they told me it's done. That's a terrible answer, because if they told you it's done, that's telling me that you didn't have to work, and so the things that you do are very important. Having these partners, when you have a business, a lot of times you have outside sources of developers or designers or project managers or whatever. They have to have that same level. They have to verify. And so I have fired or closed out relationships because of that communication. So
I
if
like that.
they're
Closed out relationships. I'm going to use that. I've closed out this
sometimes you got to
relationship
close
in
them
my
out.
life.
Sometimes certain clients are not good for you. They're not a good fit for you. Or it could be a great client and just not for you. So another thing too is you could have I have two services, right? I have a mastermind, and every week we go through client acquisition technique, systems, how to do stuff, right? How to bring in clients. Super cheap, right? And then I have my white glove service. And that is, top notch. We get you bookings. We have these systems set up, yada yada. We don't get into details of that. But it says, hey, can you build this website? I said, no, because it's not in that. I'm not doing. I can build websites, but if you're a client, I will on the back end. So you still can provide these, but you don't want to go out and say I'm doing all this stuff, because that is part of that clarity. And the simpler you can present stuff, the more important. And it's not saying you can provide services, but if you are saying, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this," you sound like a flea market. You sound unorganized. You're confusing all that other stuff. So that affects the customer satisfaction as well. So if they don't think you can do the thing that you say you do, now you can do all this other stuff. No, pull that stuff in the back end. I think that's a big mistake. Too much info at one time.
I agree. I think that when you're telling people about what you do, you should really niche that down, because then they know if you're an expert in that one thing, they're going to be like, oh, I want to hire you for this, but could you also help me with this? Or do you know someone that could help me with this?
Yeah.
Instead
And
of
that's
like,
actually
I can do this,
revenue
I can do
stream.
this, I
That's
can do
nothing
this.
wrong
And
with
they're
that.
like, too much. Too
Yeah.
much.
That's absolutely. Oh, another thing too is you want to slow the rate customers a lot of times. You can take on a lot of work that you can't do. Like the work that we take on, it's an onboarding it's a lot of work on our end. And so we have to make sure that we're hiring the right type of, we're accepting the right type of client. And one way to do that is on your profile, tell them exactly what you're doing. I say I work with this type of person, this type of person, this type of person that makes this amount of money already. So I knock out 80% of the people that want to just kick tires. Because at the end of the day, you want to help people, but you don't want to help people to the point that they're not gonna do anything with the help you provide, or they're not gonna pay for some of your services,
or they're not in a position that even if they can pay you, they can also implement the things that they need to implement. So they're not getting the results. All right, it's our lightning round. One final last tip that you want to give. We've already given tons of tips, but one tip that you want to leave all of our viewers with. What is your final tip?
Oh, my final tip is that if you want to have happy customers, create a daily process. Block out 30 minutes or an hour in a day and do your process. And this process will become second nature. And you can be able to control that, bring clients in, making sure that things are done, put it on your calendar. Matter of fact, I have a daily process for repeatable daily process for LinkedIn. If you book some time with me, I'll give it to you. And it's Monday to Friday, and if you can convert very well on it. So you have to have a repeatable process.
I love that. Before I tell you my last tip, Yo is in the house, and this is back about when we were saying closed out relationship versus fired. I have retired from that role. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Yo. Thanks for hanging out there. She's giving you kudos for the flea market, which is true. All right. One last tip for customer service is be your authentic self. It's so much easier to give your customers a good experience if you just show up as you. Because if you are honest from the very first interaction, then they're going to be happy with what they got because you attracted the right type of clients. I am not for everyone. I am absolutely fine with that. But I love hanging out with my people, and my people love hanging out with me. So when you bring that to everything you do, it's going to make everyone's experience better. It's going to make your experience better because you're going to enjoy working with those clients and vice versa. So that is my final tip. Now, Troy, tell us how you keep mentioning this amazing call with you. So tell us how we can get a hold of that.
Oh, I think the link below, it's my booking link. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, this name is Troy. Last name's Hipolito, Hipolito. And that's on LinkedIn. And even if you go on LinkedIn, there's a link there as well. Grab 20 minutes if there's anything I can help and support you with. I want that daily process. So I'll always
all
open
right.
to help.
I am all about daily processes. It's funny because Monica has destroyed me. I used to just be so unorganized, and if an alarm didn't go off, it didn't happen. And now I have all these processes in place, and it's such a more relaxing place to live, and so much easier to build connections when you
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Oh. So For me, if you guys want to hang out with me, you can go to headshotstrategist.com/let's connect and click on that and schedule a call. Or I have just started my my Time Benders Master's Quest monthly workshops. Tomorrow, if you're watching live today, show up tomorrow. Register right now so you can get the link and show up tomorrow. This link is good. Every single month, new information is going to be up there. So go to that and bookmark that and come hang out with me. Now, let's talk about the community announcements. If you thoroughly enjoyed this show, we are here every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time and every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. And if you can't catch us live, you can catch us on the replays, or if you want to listen to us on the go wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and favorite this podcast and listen to us on the go. Now, you guys, today was not my scheduled day. I was filling in for Monica, but tomorrow we are going to talk branding. So, hey, come hang out tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. And I am excited to hang out with you again. And Troy, thank you so much. This has been a really, really fun show. I appreciate all your time.
I appreciate you having me, Peggy. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.